Hello, everybody. I should start by introducing myself. I'm Fedon Kaloterakis. I come from Greece. I work at an organization called Kethia, but I'm also the president of the European Federation of Therapeutic Communities and the second vice president of the World Federation of Therapeutic Communities. I would like to welcome you, everybody. I'm speaking to you from the United Nations building in Vienna, where the Commission on Narcotic Drugs is having its annual meeting. So I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, since we're doing this online. We have an exciting side event. We will talk about opportunities and challenges for the therapeutic communities, especially therapeutic communities working with and serving vulnerable populations. And we're going to talk about two main items, the Declaration of Mallorca and the World Social Report. But first, a few housekeeping announcements. There is going to be translation. This is the good news. So we have simultaneous translation into Spanish and Portuguese, so you can see how you can do this with your computer. But also, I would like to ask you to mute yourselves, please, unless it is your turn to speak if you're a panelist. Questions should be placed in the question and answer box, not in the chat function. Hopefully, we will have time for questions and answers at the end, but we shall see. I want to remain optimistic about that. And also, this will be recorded automatically, and the recording will be provided to you right after it is over. Thank you for attending. Thank you for being here, and enjoy this side event. First, we have a welcome message from our president, from the president of the World Federation of Therapeutic Communities, Dr. Susma Taylor.
Good afternoon. In the last 60 years, the therapeutic community movement has grown to involve more societies and more countries, uniting in the face of a common worldwide problem. That is the fight against drug-related problems. The positive and encouraging results of therapeutic communities worldwide underscores the significance and the benefits of the therapeutic community model. The problems associated with illicit drug use impacts all aspects of society. Drug dependence is not just the chronic use of a substance, but includes a loss of control and a compulsion to use in spite of adverse consequences. These consequences can include impairments in cognitive, psychological, physical, and emotional health. Science has documented the fact that prolonged substance use results in changes in brain chemistry in very fundamental and long-lasting ways. Neurotransmitters, which are essential to the healthy functioning of emotions, thinking, and perception, are all impacted by substance use. These changes in neurotransmitters are responsible for distortions in both cognitive and emotional functioning. The World Federation of Therapeutic Communities is an international association that includes a diverse membership from all 6 continents. Our programs provide a comprehensive array of services, which include wellness promotion, health services, education, social and vocational services, as well as housing, mental health counseling, and comprehensive psychosocial rehabilitation. The biological and behavioral aspects of dependence are complementary and interchangeable. Dependence may begin volitionally, but continued use leads to habituation and chronicity, which adversely impacts both cognitive, behavioral, emotional, as well as family, social, and cultural domains. The demographics of those with substance use disorders are ever-changing. Our clients are complex and experience multiple problems, including homelessness, poverty, social dislocation, and acute mental distress. These are individuals who seek medication for relief of their symptoms, as well as those who are psychologically impaired due to self-medicating. Members of the World Federation of Therapeutic Communities have been successfully engaged in the development of effective program strategies to treat substance dependence disorders for over 60 years. Our services are based upon a fundamental perspective that addiction occurs within the broader framework, which includes economic and social disaffiliation. Therapeutic communities have been described as constructs, as a specific approach, a movement, a strategy, and also a philosophy. And all of these characteristics are fundamental within the therapeutic community model. The World Federation of Therapeutic Communities meet as a collective every 2 years with diverging cultures and from different countries to exchange knowledge, experience, and expertise. Just 2 months ago, we gathered in New Delhi, India, at the 28th World Conference, where over 450 participants shared their collective wisdom, their unique experiences, as well as their vision for the future. Today, our panel of distinguished speakers will describe some of the highlights of that extraordinary World Federation Conference. In closing, allow me to thank the presenters for their thoughtful remarks and for all of the member organizations of the World Federation for the outstanding achievements that they undertake every day in the extraordinary work that they do. I would like to thank all of them for all that they do and for making such a difference in the lives of the people that they serve. Thank you so much for your outstanding commitment and the work that you do. Thank you so much for listening to my remarks.
Well, I would like in turn to thank Susman for her brief but inspiring message. But more than this, I would like to thank her for her leadership. Now, as I said in the beginning, I'm here at the Vienna UN building. So, and right next to me, I have a gentleman, I have a dear friend, Oriol Skoulias. Oriol is the secretary of the World Federation of Therapeutic Communities, but he is also the International Commissioner of Proyecto Hombre, and he's a member of the Communications Committee, because the Communications Committee is the committee that put all this together, but I will say more about this at the end. And Oriol will speak to us about the Declaration of Mallorca. Oriol, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Faidon. Good morning, good family, good afternoon, family. Let me first share the screen of my presentation, and I will start. I have to be brief, so I'll do my best. Thank you so much. I will speak about the Declaration of Mallorca and the ongoing declaration after 7 years of the adoption of it. Some of you might know about this declaration, some of you don't. The story began in 2016 in the island of Mallorca in Spain. Every 10 years, the main experts on therapeutic communities from all over the world meet to discuss about this method, this approach, while adopting a new declaration of recommendations and joint commitments to implement within the next 10 years in order to extend the TCs and improve their effectiveness and the impact of them. Just very briefly how we proceeded. Several working groups were deeply debating during 3 days with a moderator and a reporter about the core elements and challenges of the TCs, and in parallel, steering committee collected all proposals and draft a text that was presented in plenary for a joint review and thus reached the maximum possible consensus. This was the experts, the working groups. This picture This one illustrates the joint adoption of the declaration, not only with our president, Dr. Sushma Taylor, but the presidents of regional federations and the local organizers, Proyecto Hombre. In the light of the declaration, this temporary strategic organizing committee was established to somehow translate into actions many of these commitments. During 2017, several meetings were held, ending with an in-person meeting in Bangkok, Thailand. Also in 2017, this declaration was issued as an official document to the UN Commission on Narcotic Drugs, and we had even the opportunity to read it in the plenary session before all member states. And now, since time is limited, I will focus my presentation on sharing with you around 10 of these adopted recommendations of the Declaration of Mallorca, followed by a couple of examples for each one, which demonstrate and at the same time want to recognize how organizations are implementing them on the ground. I cannot go deep on detail, but you'll have to understand that time is very limited here in the side event, in the margins of the UN Commission on Narcotic Drugs. Okay. Sorry. Yes, therapeutic communities, this is the first one. Therapeutic communities support a wide range of addiction profiles with an increasing attention to specific vulnerable groups such as women, children, homeless, people with HIV, co-occurring disorders, offenders, and others. Most of the organizations have been adapting and adjusting TCs for specific and target groups, specific settings. This is a great example from Chase Genoa, Rico Costa, called Il Timone. This is a DC for minors in Italy. Or Amity Foundation, which is doing great work in prison settings. This is a morning meeting in a prison-based therapeutic community in the United States. I also want to highlight how we love Mara Arbiter, one of the leaders of the foundation who passed away last year. This is Argo from Greece, dual diagnosed TC for co-occurring disorders residents. And this is a monumental work that an organization called the SPIM in India is doing with HIV/AIDS populations. Or Proyecto Hombre in Portugal, a facility called Game Off for internet gambling or tech addiction. Another principle of this declaration, it is critical for representatives from international and regional organizations, government, civil society, and private sector to recognize the role of therapeutic communities in solving problems related to drugs and other addictions and the consequent suffering of millions of people. I really want to underpin how the European federations, as an example of therapeutic communities, got last year the UN ECOSOC special consultative status. And this is so important to advocate and to influence drug policies internationally. Or how one of the most renowned global AMM organizations called DNO International is being advocating at many levels, not only here in Vienna, but WHO in Geneva, etc. Many people, many stakeholders and policymakers know about this is because of DNO International. Or Augusto Nogueira from Macau, who is so active at the UN level. For instance, he's been leading a new, what's called Asia Pacific Working Group by the BNNGO Committee on Drugs. Or you know that probably the continent with less therapeutic communities in the world is Africa, although they have already many drug-related problems, or even more than some other regions. And this is Cassidy Rogers, who is trying to establish this approach in Africa. It comes from an organization called Uganda Youth Development Link. Much progress has been made in introducing the gender perspective into the treatment of addictions. Nonetheless, organizations are invited to reinforce these goals as a priority, how gender-sensitive approach is important. This is an example from Mexico, CURE organization, a therapeutic community for women. Or the United Kingdom has, fortunately, Phoenix Future from Karen Biggs, who was actually yesterday presenting in person in another side event, how they deal with parents and children in a whole family approach. Or Therapeutic House in Newark, United States. This is a 30-bed residential treatment for women, also in the US. Therapeutic communities welcome aftercare services focused on improving social reintegration of the participants. And these follow-up services are critical in reducing relapsing episodes. We have, I think, later on Ed Carlson with us, is the director of Odyssey House, Louisiana. And they do many things excellently. And it's a very remarkable work in the United States. But today I want to highlight the housing programs for those in a recovering process. Also, another innovative program that we've discovered in Czech Republic from Magdalena Ops organization called Follow-Up Care Center Podolary. Families and other social networks become key factors during the TCA treatment, and we should encourage them to get engaged. How family members, is so important in a recovering process. And I want to show you the impressive work done for many years by Kasih Mulia Foundation in Indonesia, working all the time with the parents of the residents or other relatives during the treatment. Or in Lebanon, CTLL organization with what they call a family follow-up program. The promotion of research and evidence-based interventions become crucial for the sustainability of therapeutic communities, and we invite all organizations to be involved in publishing scientific papers and collaborating with academia and the research community. I've been observing how many organizations have been increasing this area on publishing and on promoting evidence-based intervention, but we still have to face a long journey to improve it. I just want to highlight what Pablo Kurlander will present later on, the first World Annual Social Report on Therapeutic Communities, just as an example of many. The review of what's called a specific monograph on therapeutic communities for treatment addictions in Europe by Wouter van der Spraeten, one of the greatest researchers nowadays in TCs from the University of Ghent. And this was a publication from the EMCDDA some years ago. And this is from my organization, Proyecto Hombre. Among all our researchers, this was one done some years ago, as ROI, a social return of investment study that those in a recovering process in our treatment centers from each, that was just an example, from each euro invested, society is saving more than 5. We acknowledge that transparency and accountability are fundamental aspects of the functioning of the organizations in the addiction field. And these are mandatory prerequisites for obtaining and sustaining credibility from governments and society. And now I think it's worth mentioning how this Australasian Therapeutic Communities Association have what they call ATCA standards, not only providing to their members minimum quality standards to work effectively within the TC approach, but also reviewing, having a supervision system to see if they are really complying with all these standards. And at the same time, this is the new board of the Latin American Federation of Therapeutic Communities. You have to know that they have been promoting what they call certification and training program, the possibility to strengthen the skills of the professionals across the vast region of America. But also now they are innovating with e-learning platforms, which make training and all these courses more accessible. We recognize that TC staff need continuous training and education, mentoring, caregiving, and external supervision. And these are two of many other examples, but this is one from the Philippines called the International Institute of Therapeutic Communities, led by Martin Infante from the organization Self Foundation. You see, this was one of the trainings. And this is the long-standing training school by Hogares Claret Foundation in Colombia. This is Padre Gabriel Mejia. Many of you know him. Therapeutic communities require interdisciplinary professional teams, including experts by experience, to deal with the complexity of addiction within a biopsychosocial framework. The identity of disease staff, the disease staff lies in a combination of professionalism, dedication to service, and passion for love. And here I want to remember Roddy Yates, who also passed away, and we miss him very much last year. And he was actually a researcher, one of the greatest researchers also on TCs from the University of Stirling, Scotland. But at the same time, he was a recovered person and a musician. Communication through internet and social media is an indispensable tool for increasing the awareness of society about the harmful consequences of addiction. This type of communication also contributes to the visibility of disease and their effectiveness. And here I want to mention the extraordinary work done by the Communication Committee, not only through the newsletter, but I really suggest you to subscribe and or even send news about what you're doing across the globe. If you want to subscribe, you just have to contact Luni Granier. This is his email contact address. You also can visit our website. For instance, if you want to download the whole Declaration of Mallorca, not only in English but Spanish, you can do it through our website. The text of the declaration concludes like this. The Declaration of Mallorca reaffirms the commitment of the therapeutic community movement to serve addicted populations and their social networks all over the world by restoring their hope, dignity, and personal well-being. You have seen and you might realize the importance of each recommendation, each principle, and we could give deep on detail for hours about family, gender, etc., etc. But this is just a brief overview of this declaration that I hope helps you to guide your daily work. But I'm here for you anytime to go deep in detail in an issue. I also want to encourage you to meet in 2026 that we're supposed to make the final review of this declaration and be brave enough and wise enough to design the new one for the next 10 years. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Oriol. Thank you. Thank you very much for this magnificent presentation. I find it extremely encouraging to see all these activities, all this is happening around the world. You see, the Declaration of Mallorca is not just a text, but it is a text that produces action, and we got a small taste. Thank you, Oriol, for this. Thank you for this. Now, by the way, I should say something about Oriol's organization, Project Obre. They have the vision to establish a position for international commissioner. And this is also a great idea for all our organizations. We have to look outside of ourselves and also to look forward. So now we go on with the second part of our side event. We have two gentlemen. They're both members of the Communication Committee. Enrico is also the first, Enrico Costa is also the first Vice President of the World Federation of Therapeutic Communities, and he is involved with therapeutic community work in Genova, in Italy. And we have a gentleman from Brazil, Dr. Pablo Kurlander, who is also a member of the Communications Committee. And he's a psychologist, and he has a PhD, he holds a PhD in public health. Both of them together will present to us the annual social report of WFTC. Please, Enrico, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you so much. A couple of years ago, we found the necessity to have a social report with the aim to relate among us and among the various institutions, social, medical, government, with which we relate all over the years. And we arrived with the very first issue covering the year 2021, actually. And we are here to present our work. This social report is an instrument which wants to indicate who we are, what are our objectives, how we function, who the receptions of our activity are, what are the results, and also what are our targets. Through the social report, the World Federation of Therapeutic Community communicates its universality, role, and present on the entire planet, its multiculturality, identity, and consistency with its ethical principles, and its professional reliability, its objectives and projects. As we said, this is a very start, so allow us, if the data are very simple, but in the future, the incoming issue is already under work, and we expect you to give a contribution for enhancing this important tool for developing the federation and for developing the system of the communities. Now I share the presentation and give the word to Pablo Kurlander, who is explaining the report itself. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I will take it from here on about the step of the report. It's a great teamwork of the Communications Committee, WFTC, the whole committee, and all the federations related to WFTC. We started in the group of the Communications Committee developing the survey and the online survey form, who was shared from the shared worldwide by all the federations. All these federations encourage the TCs to fill out the form and to share the data. We analyze the shared data and prepare the report, which you could download in the website of the WFTC or in the newsletter to the whole report with the whole data. We request some specific information. The first was, of course, the country base and the continent in order to try to separate information by region. As you will see in the next slides, the scope of work is the organization has a local, national, or international work. The type of work, if the organization is a grassroots, advocacy, or both, and number of employees, less than 10, 10 to 50, or more than 50. And you can see that these three data the scope of work, type of work, and number of employees, talk about the size of the organizations too, not only specifically of this data. And after to finish the data, the number of individuals who receive service and reached by the organization. We merge these both informations, the direct service for the people assisted and all the work that could reach some specific people in other kind of work. About the outcomes, we had 134 respondent organizations from 26 countries and 5 regions. And here in the map at the right, we highlighted the countries that participate. You can notice that in Africa, we had no organizations, and this is due to the fact that there, the TCs or movement are starting or just starting. We aim that in the next report we could share some data from Africa. About the total respondent organizations by region, Latin America leads the table with more than the half of the participants, and this time here on the right in the map, the darker the country, the higher number of respondent organizations. Linked to this key information, we have now the number of total assisted and reached people. We have more than 500,000, even being a really expressive number. This is a low number because not all the organizations related to the WFTC could respond this survey due to the short deadline we had. And now about the distribution of total assisted people by region. North America this table with almost a half, and in the map of the left we had the darker the country, the more assisted and reached people. Now in the pie chart we can see the distribution by scope of work, and we can see that most of the organizations had a national work. And here in the breakdown by region we can see the distribution, and we can notice that in Latin America and Asia, for example, most of the organizations had a local work. This could suggest the correlation between the level of development of the region and the size of the organization. So the suggestion of correlation is that the lower the development of the region, the smaller organizations are there. In the pie chart of type of work, we can see that most of the organizations were grassroots, and in the breakdown by region, we can see again the very most of organizations in Latin America were grassroots too, that further suggests this correlation between the level of development of the region and the size of the organizations. And to wrap this up, this is the final data. We can see the number of employees and proportional distribution between the sizes, but in the breakdown by region, we can see again this association, this possible association between the level of development of the region and the size of the organizations. In the Latin American numbers, we can see most of the organizations were small or medium-sized due to the number of employees. We return to Enrico to finish the presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you, Pablo. Now, as we said, this is the very first issue. Next year issue is already under work, and if the work would be done properly, it would be because of the help of the contribution of each single organization all over the world. So we invite and we beg, please, all bodies, all entities to download this issue, number one, and to give any possible suggestion, data, contribution through our web to the organization of the next incoming World Social Record. So we give appointment to next year. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Enrico. Thank you, Pablo.
Yes.
Not only for the presentation, not only for presenting this incredible work, but thank you for really coordinating this project. And I should say here that all this is done by a committee of the World Federation of Therapeutic Communities. It's called the Communications Committee. Ed Carlson and Enrico Costa are leading this committee. But I also have to say that I would like to thank all the members of the committee, of course. But and Enrico, could you please mute yourself, because we get some feedback. Thank you. Yes, thank you. But the person who coordinates all this is Ann Tucker. So I would like to thank Ann for this. Thank you, Ann, for all your efforts. Because this gives us an idea what therapeutic communities are all about. And this is incredible. This is an event organized by the World Federation of Therapeutic Communities, but it is co-sponsored by all the regional federations, like the Treatment Communities of America, the Australasian Therapeutic Communities Association, the Federation of Therapeutic Communities in Asia, the Federation of Latin American Therapeutic Communities, and the European Federation of Therapeutic Communities, and also by two organizations. Oriol mentioned both of them, the ANOVA International and Proyecto Hombre for Spain. It is also an act of solidarity. It shows in a symbolic way what we do together with each other. We have only a few minutes left. We have to remember that this is done as a side event at the CND, the Commission of Narcotic Drugs meeting. So it is only 50 minutes long. It should be only 50 minutes long. At this point, I would like to present some of the presidents of these federations, and they're gonna present in turn some conferences that are coming up. The first conference is in November of this year, and it is in Manila, Philippines. I know that the president of the Federation of Therapeutic Communities in Asia is listening, is attending, but for technical reasons, we are not able to connect with him. So, Martin Ifande, if you don't mind, I'm announcing that the FTCA conference will be in November, this November, in Manila, Philippines. And then the next one will be in New Orleans, USA, in January. So I would like to ask the president of TCA, Ed Carlson, to introduce himself, to talk about the communications committee if you want, whatever you want, Ed, and also tell us a few things about the conference, please.
Faden, thank you very much. My internet is cutting out a lot, so I may freeze really quickly. And the work that everyone has been doing has been very valuable to helping everybody.
That was very quick. It froze very quick. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Am I still here? I don't know. I keep people have access to treatment and treatment services. And TCA will be having a meeting in New Orleans in dates on that right away, unless Anne remembers the dates. But thank you all very much, and thank you. Work. I appreciate it.
Sorry, you're dropping in and out. Sorry, but
I know.
thank you. Thank you for being here, but thank you for all the work you do. and we also thank all the members of the committee. Okay, but after the next one is in September here in Europe, in Gdansk, Poland. It's the European Federation of Therapeutic Communities Conference. So you're all invited. Gdansk is a beautiful city. And the one after that, in December of next year, will be our conference, the World Federation of Therapeutic Communities Conference in Brazil. So FLACT is organizing this, and we have FLACT and FEBRACT, the Brazilian Federation of Therapeutic Communities. So we have the president of FLACT, Jorge Olivares from Chile, and also Ricardo Valente, the president of FEBRACT. Please, gentlemen, can you say a few words to us?
Bueno, buenos días, buenas tardes a todos. Para la Federación Latinoamericana de Comunidades Terapéuticas es muy importante la confianza otorgada en diciembre pasado en la conferencia de India, donde solicitamos poder llevar a cabo la 29ª conferencia mundial en la ciudad de Campinas, Brasil. Ya hemos podido ir trabajando con la Federación Mundial y ya tenemos fecha para el día 6, del 6 al 8 de diciembre del año 2024 en la ciudad de Campinas. Esperamos poder hacer una magnífica conferencia. Tenemos la certeza, la seguridad de que Brasil nos va a acoger de muy buena manera y que tendremos una conferencia de muy buena calidad como fue la de India. Así que los esperamos a todos el próximo año en Campinas. Ahí les dejo la gráfica de lo que hemos venido realizando, así que esperamos contar con la presencia de todos ustedes el próximo año. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Jorge. And now, Ricardo, would you mind to say a few words as also the local organizer, the very local organizer in Brazil, please? You're muted. Yes, go ahead.
Nós estamos muito contentes de receber a Conferência Mundial no Brasil e vamos juntar esforços com todas as comunidades terapêuticas brasileiras, com o governo brasileiro, com os organismos internacionais, para realizar a melhor conferência possível, a fim de que possamos discutir as melhores práticas, os estándares de qualidade, para que o serviço de comunidade terapêutica se qualifique cada vez mais e, assim sendo, podendo melhor acolher o objeto do seu serviço, que é o cidadão, que é a cidadã, que é a pessoa, que é o ser humano. Muito obrigado pelo convite. Estamos muito orgulhosos de poder acolher a conferência e esperamos todos vocês aqui no Brasil em dezembro de 2024. Em nome da Federação Brasileira de Comunidades Terapêuticas e da FLACT, nós agradecemos. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you. And we are all looking forward to seeing you in Brazil in next year, sometime next year, at the end of next year. I think we are reaching the end. We have only a few minutes. Just to remind you again that Oriol and myself, we're here at the Vienna UN headquarters, and we participate in various meetings promoting what we do, because therapeutic communities are really doing great work. What we do is based on evidence, and it has to do with the human spirit. It has a lot of heart, and I'm very proud of this. Here, at this point, I would like to thank some people. I would like to thank all the people who organized this. I would like to thank the panelists. I would like to thank you, the participants. I would like to thank the interpreters, the technical staff. Megan, thank you very much. And I would like to finish with just one word. People who know me, they always make fun of the fact that I always say something in Greek. Okay, so it's coming. Yes, some people are smiling. I can say this. And I'm going to use this word. The word idiot is a Greek word, idiotis. But in Greek, even in modern Greek, it means private. It doesn't mean stupid. It means private. But the point is that the person who keeps to himself or to himself, the person who is private at the end is stupid. We should not be idiots. We need each other. We need each other badly, especially in these dark times. And we should stick together. We should work together for the people who trust us with their health and sometimes even with their lives. So let's not be idiots. Let's do things together. Thank you again, and see you soon, probably at our next conference. Thank you, and bye-bye.